Morning, everyone. Welcome to the Franklin County Board of Commissioners General Session. Today is September 20th. As a reminder, this is a public meeting and is being recorded. For those of you calling in, please ensure you have muted your phone line. Thank you. First, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tomorrow, Wednesday, September 21st, 2022, is National Black Women's Equal Pay Day. I want to take a moment this morning to acknowledge National Black Women's Equal Pay Day, which again is tomorrow. Black women work 579 days to earn what white men do in 365 days. That means Black women must work an extra 214 days to catch up with what their white male counterparts make. Today, this is still an unfortunate wage gap that affects everything from the ability to save for retirement, pay off student debt, manage household expenses, and obtain access to quality housing, to the cost of health care and groceries. Based on the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the percentage of Black women working in full-time minimum wage jobs is higher than for any other racial group. With more than 1 in 3 Black women on the front lines of the pandemic in 2020, many in low-paying jobs with high risk of exposure to the virus, we are faced with even further discrepancies to address as we work to remedy these inequities. Equality is an American ideal, and we expect that all men and women should have equal opportunities to great-paying jobs. I challenge every Franklin County business to look at their pay scale with a discerning eye and work to ensure equality for all of our workers.
Madam President, may I jump in on that too?
Sure.
Yeah, and I don't want to drag out the agenda today, but I will say that this is really an important topic, and where I believe it starts is in the leadership and management part of any organization. Years ago, I'll just a real quick story. Years ago, remember, I had 2 employees in my office, and I went to a panel discussion about pay equity, and I had. Long story short is, at this panel, I learned of how systemic pay inequity happens over time. It's like once a person is in the hole, they're kind of always in the hole. Even if they take on a new job and they say, well, I'm going to give you a 20% raise from your last job. But if you started off in the hole and the equity was out of line, then it just kind of stays that way. And so I came back to the office that day and I had to make an executive decision to correct some of the pay in the people that I was managing at that time. And I just think that's so important. And I think that we should all be thoughtful about that when it comes to pay equity, that you might not be able to correct all the wrongs in the past, but you can focus on what you can control today. And sometimes it's a leap of faith and just taking that action and making an executive decision to do it. And I just want to encourage those who are in position to do it, to be thoughtful about the people who work for you, the roles that they play in your organizations, and the contributions that they make every day. And do your best to address the inequities that might exist. So thank you so much, Madam President.
Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that, because I think that's why, and I applaud businesses and municipalities that don't ask about pay history. And I think because it gets to that point of, historically, Black and brown women especially have been underpaid. And so when you're asking for pay history and basing a new wage on that pay history, then to your point, they will continue to be behind. So I know when I was in the legislature, that was a thing, as well as making sure that folks have access to paychecks and pay stubs. I did not know that there are a number of jobs outside of, sometimes construction, or sometimes people coming and do work for your home, that there are businesses that don't historically give people pay stubs, which impacts their ability to go find housing or get housing where they're asking for that history of pay. And so, I know that was a bill that was championed in the legislature here. It has not passed, but I support and encourage all businesses to make sure that you are providing pay stubs to folks so they don't continue to have barriers to housing and other employment, and just things to be able to keep a roof over their head, water running, and the lights on. So thank you for your comments. Next, we have National Voter Registration Day, which is today. So today is National Voter Registration Day. It's time to celebrate our small d democratic heritage while educating Americans on the value of voting and the requirements for registering. For one day, volunteers and voting rights organizations collaborate by setting up registration tables, knocking on doors, and producing media awareness campaigns over the importance of voting. I was raised in a family that emphasized the importance of voting and viewed exercising our right to vote as one of our most cherished civic duties. As a Navy veteran and an elected official, I have an even greater understanding of the obligation we have to this country, locally and nationally, to exercise our inalienable rights as citizens to vote. To learn more about registering to vote in Ohio, visit the Secretary of State's website at www.ohiosos.gov, or for voter information in Franklin County, you can go to www.vote.franklincountyohio.gov. Take an opportunity today to check your voting status, and keep in mind October 11th is the deadline to register or update your registration to vote in Ohio for the upcoming November 8th general election. And I will tell on myself, I updated my voter registration yesterday because I moved, and it was something, I got something in my email, and I was like, I thought I updated my registration when I changed my mailing address, but you can't always be sure that that does it. And so I went on to the Board of Elections website for Franklin County and realized that it had not updated when I moved, so I changed it on the website. And it hasn't been that long that my family has been able to vote. Like, we think about it as like so long ago, and it really hasn't been. And I did grow up in a family that once, my great-grandmother was born in 1899, right? So most of her life she was not able to vote, and then when she could, she did. And then my grandmother and my great-aunt as well, who were born in 1927 and then 1933. So I come from 4 generations of women, and when there was a right to vote and then the ability to be poll workers, that is what my family did. My aunt continues to do it. My mother can't because she's disabled. And so that foundation had me be able to register to vote when I could and have voted. And no matter where I lived, I registered and then voted in elections, whether special or primary in general. And then my daughters, when they turned 18, and they are registered to vote and are looking forward to voting this November. So check your voter registration, and if you're not registered to vote, please do so, and encourage your family and friends to do the same. Today is also International Day of Peace, or tomorrow is International Day of Peace, Wednesday, September 21st. So tomorrow marks the 41st anniversary of the International Day of Peace, organized by the United Nations and celebrated around the world. We mark this occasion to globally share a day for all humanity to commit to peace and to contribute to building a culture of peace. This year's theme, End Racism, Build Peace, is dedicated to strengthening the ideals of peace through the nonviolent period of a 24-hour ceasefire. In particular, the United Nations wishes to address hate speech and violence directed at racial minorities. On this day, we are encouraged to speak out and promote a message of anti-racism through education. We look to those who have been peacemakers and peacekeepers to learn how we can individually make the world a more peaceful place for every resident every day. Thank you. If I can have approval of the minutes for September 6th and September 13th, 2022 general sessions, and the September 8th and September 15th, 2022 briefing session.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Thank you. The minutes have been approved.
First up, we have the auditor.
Resolution number 68122. Resolution extending the period for filing an application for the registration of dogs in Franklin County without penalty pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 95501.
Good morning, Commissioner Boyce, President Crowley. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm Michael Sanzano. I have the honor of serving as the Franklin County Auditor. Appreciate the opportunity to present and bring forward Resolution 68122. As mentioned, our goal is to once again extend the deadline for registering one's dog throughout Franklin County without a penalty until March 31st. If this sounds familiar, it is one that we have been back and forth a number of times. For context and history, in October of 2019, the board enacted a 2-year pilot program extending the deadline from January 31st to March 31st. However, in 2020, due to a public health emergency, the commissioners were once again needing to approve a second extension that was only applicable in 2020. Then in 2021, the General Assembly took action to again delay the licensing deadline because of the pandemic. Then overall, the effect of COVID-19 has resulted in continuing to move this extension around. Our goal when we did the initial pilot program and seeking this extension is to, as always, increase the overall dog licensure rate as required. Dog licensing is a creature of the ORC, but we want to make sure there's more time and get more compliance from dog owners. And having that extension period allows for greater public awareness, and we have seen allows for a slight uptick or at least more motivation. So while we haven't had a true test, happy to share that residents do take advantage of the extra time of licensing their dogs when given opportunity. In 2019, where there was no extension, we saw a little over 10,000. In 2020, when there was an extension, we saw over 20,000. And again, in 2021, with an extension, we saw over 20,000. This past year alone, nearly 50% of all dog registrations came in during the February and March extension. So a nuanced thing, but one that we continue to think is important for dog owners, but we want to make sure we get it right with adequate statistics. The ongoing changes and moving of the deadlines or extensions of an extended deadline in the first place has made that hard. So we're asking for your support again, so we can hopefully come back and make a ultimate decision of full-time support for extension up till March 31st, or if there's somewhere in between. With that, I look forward to any questions and appreciate your support of the resolution.
Thank you so much, Mr. Auditor. If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 681-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 681-22 has been adopted.
Thank you both.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Next, engineer.
Resolution number 682-22. Resolution authorizing the Franklin County Engineer to enter into a contract modification with Prime AE Group Incorporated for construction inspection services, an increase of $48,960 for a revised contract amount of $168,510.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nick Soulis, Government Affairs Liaison for Franklin County Engineer Cornell Robertson. Commissioners, our one resolution this morning seeks to modify the contract that was first awarded on August 2nd, 2022 with Prime AE. We had originally engaged Prime AE to provide construction services for our Morse Road and Babbitt Road roundabout project. As the project has progressed, we have determined that we need additional project engineering services, and Prime AE is fully qualified to provide these services. So we are seeking to modify the contract to allow Prime AE to provide project engineering services for the Franklin County Engineer's Office on this project. So pending any questions, we would ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 682-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 682-22 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Next, prosecuting attorney.
Resolution number 683-22. Resolution authorizing the settlement for the amount of $50,000 of a disputed bodily injury claim asserted against the county by Cameron Eldridge arising from an automobile accident and involving a Franklin County Sheriff's deputy in the amount of $50,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Jesse Armstrong, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney. This resolution would settle the legal claim in the lawsuit brought against the county by an individual by the name of Cameron Eldridge. This matter arose out of an accident that occurred in July of 2018 on Interstate 670 involving a vehicle in which Mr. Eldridge was riding as a passenger and another vehicle driven by a Franklin County Sheriff's deputy. As part of the settlement, the parties have agreed and our office has approved to form a settlement agreement. This resolution would authorize the county administrator to approve and execute that settlement agreement. As part of the settlement, there would be a dismissal of all claims asserted in the lawsuit. Again, the total amount of this settlement from the county would be $50,000. Pending any questions, respectfully request your approval of this resolution. Thank you.
Okay, if there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 683-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 68322 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Next, we have the sheriff.
Resolution number 68422, resolution authorizing the acceptance of funding from Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office to support the Ohio Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force in the amount of $45,000.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. Albert Smith, Assistant Finance Director for the Sheriff's Office. Our resolution this morning will allow our office to accept funding from Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office to benefit our Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. This is also known as our our ICAC Task Force. These funds will be utilized to support the investigation and prosecution of Internet Crimes Against Children offenses. Pending any questions, I request approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 684-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 68422 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Have a good one. Next, we have
You
committee
too.
partnerships.
Resolution number 68522, resolution authorizing a funding agreement with the Ohio Department of Health to support tuberculosis detection and treatment program and administer medically approved courses of treatment in the management of individuals diagnosed with tuberculosis.
Good morning, Commissioners. Zach Telerik with the Office of Management and Budget. This resolution would authorize the funding agreement to provide reimbursement to Franklin County from the Ohio Department of Health in regard to the Ben Franklin Tuberculosis Program. Franklin County has the highest incidence of tuberculosis cases in the state of Ohio. In 2021, our county accounted for 32% of the TB cases statewide. The resolution that authorizes the partial reimbursement, Franklin County would be provided reimbursement of $5,101.87 per case, meeting the treatment standards as outlined by the Centers for Disease Control and the Ohio Department of Health. This would result in the total reimbursement of $204,074.76. Pending any questions, would ask your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 685-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 68522 has been adopted.
Thank you, Zach. Have a good one. Next, we have Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
Resolution number 68622, resolution supporting the issuance of a United States postal stamp to honor Muhammad Ali.
Good morning, Commissioners. D'Amica Withers, Chief Economic Equity and Inclusion Officer in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Commissioners, this resolution will support the Get the Champa Stamp initiative to honor Muhammad Ali being on a United States postal stamp. This movement began by Mayor Greg Fisher of Louisville, Kentucky, Muhammad Ali's hometown, in partnership with the Muhammad Ali Center. Muhammad Ali, the greatest, may be known to some as the first fighter to win the World Heavyweight Championship 3 times. However, Muhammad Ali used his platform as an activist for social justice, peace, civil rights, freedom of thought, and faith. Muhammad Ali's contribution as a lifelong champion of equity, equality, and inclusion amplified his voice for the advancement of all people. Representation matters, and your support of this cause will join other cities across the United States fighting to get the Champa stamp. If approved, this adopted resolution will be sent to the Muhammad Ali Center in support of this great movement. Unfortunately, Mayor Fisher is not available for comment today due to travel, but he sends his gratitude for your support. I can answer any questions you have and respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
Thank you, Chief Withers, for bringing this resolution. I had a conversation a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, there was a reception for the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and I had the opportunity to sit next to Mayor Fisher, who's very passionate about making sure the champ has a stamp and all the work that he's been doing in Louisville and across the country to make sure that this happens. And I know that there's a guest online, but maybe you can answer this. One thing I can't remember if I asked or he said, but how many cities or counties have already passed a resolution or something in support of getting the Champa stamp.
Los Angeles has passed their resolution. The city of New York is working to pass their resolution. And the guest that was supposed to be online unfortunately informed me this morning that she was not able to be here due to something that came up in her schedule. But I definitely can get some more information for you regarding the cities that have passed the resolution.
Okay. Do you know if we are having a conversation? Never mind. We could talk about it offline. With the city of Columbus, I would like for them to be a part of this. And Administrator Wilson, I know he's at ICMA. I don't know if he got on, but he is just as passionate about Muhammad Ali as Mayor Fisher. And so it was good seeing them talk about this, but happy to support this resolution. Thank you so much for bringing it forward.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 686-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Carley?
Yes.
Resolution number 686-22 has been adopted.
Thank you. Have a good one. Next, we have Economic Development and Planning.
Resolution number 687-22, review of petition to annex 20.8 acres more or less from Norwich Township to the city of Hilliard, case number ANX-31-22.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jenny Snap, Chief Operations Officer at Economic Development and Planning. This resolution is to consider an expedited Type 2 annexation petition of 20.8 acres from Norwich Township to the city of Hilliard. The area to be annexed includes property located at 4701 Leopard Road and an additional parcel at Leopard Road. Those are both west of Leopard Road, south of Hayden Run Road, and east of Cosgray Road. Petition was filed by agent and attorney Brandon Pauley, attorney at law of Brennan, Manna, and Diamond, on behalf of the owner, Glenmont. For the record, Brandon Pauley, legal counsel, is in attendance should you have any questions, along with Lydia Manfreda, administrator at Glenmont Christian Science Nursing and secretary of the Board of Trustees. 49% of the site's perimeter is contiguous with Hilliard, and the city passed resolution number 22-R-68 on August 22nd, 2022, indicating the services that will be provided once the annexation is approved, and a statement regarding incompatible land uses and the zoning buffer. Petition meets all statutory requirements outlined in section 709.021 of the Ohio Revised Code, and pending any questions, I would request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 687-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 687-22 has been adopted. Resolution number 688-22, resolution authorizing the Board of Franklin County Commissioners to sign the attached discharge of mortgage instrument for Linda L. Gregg at 3052 Bryce Road, Bryce, Ohio, 43109.
Good morning. I'm Julissa Tirushalvan, Administrative Assistant 2 for EDP. Linda L. Gregg received on June 13, 2007 from Franklin County a home loan for $15,000 on real estate, commonly known as 3052 Bryce Road, Bryce, Ohio. The requirements of the housing loan have been satisfied, and I respectfully request the approval of this discharge of mortgage on this property.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 688-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 688-22 has been adopted. Resolution number 689-22, resolution authorizing the Board of Franklin County Commissioners to sign the attached discharge of mortgage instrument for William Haycook at 6801 London Groveport Road, Pleasant Township, Ohio, 43123.
William Haycook received on March 7, 2006 from Franklin County a home loan for $1,780 on real estate, commonly known as 6801 London Groveport Road, Pleasant Township. The requirements of the housing loan have been satisfied. The property taxes are paid and current, and I respectfully request the approval of the discharge of mortgage on this property.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 689-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 689-22 has been adopted. Resolution number 690-22, resolution authorizing the Board of Franklin County Commissioners to sign the attached discharge of mortgage instrument for Kathy L. James, also known as Kathy L. Judd, at 1102 Sycamore Street, Village of Harrisburg, Ohio, 43126.
Kathy L. James received on November 28, 2012 from Franklin County a home loan for $6,850 on real estate, commonly known as 1102 Sycamore Street, Village of Harrisburg, Ohio. The requirements of the housing loan have been satisfied, and I respectfully request the approval of the discharge of mortgage on this property.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 690-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 690-22 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great one. Next, we have Job and Family Services.
Resolution number 691-22. Resolution approving subaward agreements with multiple community agencies for Franklin County out-of-school time youth programming in the amount of $1,977,475.55.
Commissioners, Vivian Turner, Chief Administrator. In June of last year, our agency released a request for proposal for innovative out-of-school time youth programming that covered both traditional after-school programming and summer camps. In addition to focusing on the academic enrichment through personalized student plans, we asked bidders to incorporate curriculum centered on mental health and wellness, artistic expression, cultural awareness, career interest and exploration, technology skills, financial literacy, community involvement, and much more. In this second and final year of the out-of-school time agreements, FCDJFS will fund quality, safe, and innovative programming for Franklin County youth ages 5 through 13. This resolution covers agreements with 6 of the 21 community organizations. The after-school programs coincide with the 2022-23 academic school year and operate Monday through Friday for an average of 15 hours per week. The summer learning programs also operate Monday through Friday for a minimum of 6 hours per day for a period of 8 weeks, beginning in June and ending in August. Together, these providers will serve approximately 488 youth in the after-school program and 508 youth in the summer learning programs. This resolution aligns with the goal number 11 of the poverty blueprint, and pending any questions, we request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 691-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting. Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 691-22 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 692-22. Resolution approving a subaward agreement with Greater Columbus Helping Hands Incorporated for a college and career preparation program in the amount of $225,482.30.
We are extremely proud to present this resolution in this new partnership. The pandemic has disrupted so much in our children's education, and while we were yet to capture the entire impact, concerning trends have emerged, including a decline in college enrollment after high school. The Greater Columbus Helping Hands organization focuses on assisting high school students from low to moderate income families to complete high school, low-income households to complete college readiness workshops. They also assist 800 students they helped 800 students successfully transition to secondary learning since their inception in 2014. Under this resolution, they will offer 2 programs, Mapping Your Future and Stepping Out of College. The Mapping Your Futures program is designed to assist youth with developing a strong work ethic, increasing their networking skills, and creating an effective career plan. Stepping off to college, participants receive training that helps prepare them to make a more successful transition from high school to college. The 10 of eligible students who successfully complete Stepping Off to College will also receive a laptop and printer before heading off to college. During this initial award period, an estimated 350 high school students in the Whitehall, Groveport-Madison, and Southwestern school districts will be served. This resolution continues the long legacy of Mrs. Dorothy Cage, and we are so fortunate to have her daughter here with us today, Miss Melanie Cage from the Greater Columbus Helping Hands organization, to speak a bit more about the program.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to present some highlights of our results that we've achieved through this programming. And thank you so much for this opportunity and the support and the leadership you've provided so far. So with our Mapping Your Future program, I want to emphasize that that program started in March of 2021. And since that time, we have been in 3 separate school districts. As a result of our work specifically with Groveport Madison High School, that last year we were able to serve a little over 700 ninth graders through those 3 school districts. So that was pretty significant for a first-time program to be launched and have that kind of an impact. Your approval of this resolution will allow us to continue implementing the program at Groveport Madison High School and also at Whitehall Yearling High School. You've also already heard the result of the number of students that could be impacted. Since our discussions with those 2 school districts, we have learned that we'll be impacting a little over 600 of their ninth graders through their first 2 semesters. The survey results that we conducted during the last school year with the ninth graders that we worked with in the 2 school districts, we learned that our modules on conflict resolution and decision-making resulted in an 85% of their students feeling that those modules where they learned a lot about managing conflict, dealing with decision-making, that 85% of those students felt that what they learned through our programming gave a positive impact on their future decision-making and their ability to deal with conflict. And we recognize in this time how important dealing with conflict can be in our society. As a result of our work in Groveport Madison High School, the school district has provided us with an opportunity to work in all 3 of their middle schools this year. So not only are we able to work at their high school, we're also now working at the middle schools implementing the Mapping Your Future program. So that's pretty significant for us as well. With that in mind, we'll be reaching out to and interacting with approximately 330 more students. I'll transition now to stepping off to college. Since our inception, we have given away 1,000 dorm room packages to students who have completed our program. Those dorm room packages have consisted of bed linens and bath linens to specifically help them make a more successful transition into college and feel they have the things they need readily available to them. We have given away over 650 laptops to students, laptops and printers. And prior to COVID, the number of students that completed our program, 80% of them finished their first year of college. Since COVID, 75% of the students who've completed our program have completed their first year of college. So COVID has had a significant impact on learning and the way students learn, but we're still able to prepare those students to make a very successful transition into their first year of college. Your approval of this resolution will allow us to continue working with youth at Groveport, Whitehall, and Columbus City schools, thus resulting in making a more positive impact on the legacy that these young people are able to create. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
I have a question,
Okay.
or a couple
Ms. Gates.
questions. Thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for bringing this resolution. For the stepping off to college, so you're starting with ninth graders, or you're starting with everyone, 9th through 12th grade?
Thank you for that question.
Mm-hmm.
The students that are able to participate in our stepping off to college are all high school seniors,
Okay,
and we're in the midst of recruiting now for those slots.
okay, and so your middle school, the 3 middle schools that you referenced, you'll be working with them.
The 8th graders in those middle schools,
Mm-hmm.
and then the 9th graders in the high school.
Okay, and are you, for the children that will be, or that you're targeting, are you working with the school counselors on identifying students, or how are you recruiting and making sure that kids are, even ones who, not just, I guess, low income, but low income and kind of high risk, benefit from this program?
Great questions. So 2 different tracks. Mapping Your Future, we actually have the opportunity to go into the classroom.
Okay.
So the school district is giving us class time, and we met with the principals of these schools that I've mentioned, And also the Board of school district has also been involved in helping us determine how we're going to interact with their students through Mapping Your Future. So with the principals in mind, the principals have given us the classroom time, so we're working directly with the teachers in those classrooms.
Okay.
And they're our partners as we go through the process of implementing the Mapping Your Future program.
Okay.
With stepping off to college, that's an application process. So that involves us working with the school districts, and the school districts have provided a contact person at each of their schools who works with their students to identify the students who might have an interest in going to college and connecting them with our program and providing them with the application they need to be considered as a participant of our program. So that's how that process is taking place. And we have specific guidelines that's included in the application, so our point of contact at these schools are able to use that information to identify the appropriate students. And we also have a kickoff meeting with the students so they understand what we're expecting and we can learn what they're expecting of us.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The only thing I'll add is that I want to say to Ms. Cage that your mother had a heart as big as this entire Franklin County complex. And so she's sorely missed, and it's so great to see the legacy of her work continue on. As a first-generation college student myself, I know the impact of what those resources mean for a first-generation college student. I remember my first experience going to college, and all I had was what people had donated to me, whether it's from church, community, or whatever. And I just remember I was a Division I scholarship athlete, and I showed up and I had this pink comforter. And all the guys on the team made fun of me, but that's all we had. That was what was given to me, was this pink comforter. And I didn't know any better, you know. And so, but to think of the resource of a laptop and a printer and other resources, I mean, those are things that can make or break a first-year student that is already in the hole when it comes to the resources that they have to be successful. And then the mentality of that stress can impact you as a student as well. And so thank you for what you do. Thank you for what Helping Hands, what it does for our broader community. And I'm just so grateful that we even have an opportunity to invest in those students through you all. And so thank you for your work and keep up the great work.
And pending any questions, before I go there, I would be remiss if I didn't say congratulations to Ms. Cage on her upcoming nuptials this weekend.
Congratulations.
Yes,
That's
and,
awesome.
Congratulations.
yes. And pending any questions, we request your approval.
Great. If there are no further comments or questions, move for adoption of 692-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 692-22 has been adopted. Resolution number 693-22, resolution authorizing non-general fund supplemental appropriations for social services contracts.
Commissioners, we are entering the busiest time of the year for our agency from a contracting standpoint. We are respectively requesting an adjustment to our 2022 budget appropriation, as well as adjustments to our revenue estimates. The appropriations will support awards of our federal fiscal estimates. They will support the federal fiscal year 2023 social service contracts. The remaining encumbrance are needed for potential expenditures for existing contracts through the remainder of 2022. The agency has sufficient resources to support this allocation after receiving over $5.7 million additional allocations and revenues that were not originally anticipated in the budget. Additionally, our 2022 cash balance was higher than what we anticipated, and now we have approximately $10,218,961 in unappropriated cash. We are entering the busiest period again for our social service contracts, and pending any questions, we request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 693-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 693-22 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Next, we have Justice Policy and Programs.
Resolution number 694-22, Resolution authorizing 2 professional service contract agreements with Hubert Hayes and Valerie Coleman for peer support and case management services for justice-involved residents served via the Franklin County Rapid Resource Center in the amount of $83,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rochelle Pride, Director for the Office of Justice Policy and Programs. Mr. Hayes and Mrs. Coleman will provide peer support and case management services to individuals visiting the Rapid Resource Center at the time of their release from incarceration, with a specific focus on those identified pre-release as at risk for opiate-related overdose, homelessness, and co-occurring mental health. Mr. Hayes and Mrs. Coleman will assist residents as they prepare for reentry by providing referrals and monitoring linkages to appropriate community social services. Both peer support specialists have committed to work non-traditional evening and weekend hours in the Rapid Resource Center to aid in OJPP's expansion of the center to 24/7. Mr. Hayes has served as a peer support specialist with OJPP since 2021, and Mrs. Coleman has served with us since 2018. Pending any questions, we would ask your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 694-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 694-22 has been adopted. Resolution number 695-22, resolution authorizing the county administrator to accept the receipt of an administrative award from the City of Columbus Department of Public Health for services related to the development and implementation of a legacy project for the Columbus and Franklin County Addiction Plan in the amount of $5,000.
The City of Columbus Department of Public Health was awarded funding to develop and implement a legacy project for the Columbus and Franklin County Addiction Plan. The City of Columbus Department of Public Health desires to issue OJPP an administrative award in the amount of $5,000 for the purpose of administering funds related to the legacy project on behalf of the Public Safety Subcommittee. Funding will be used to support the creation and printing of referral resource cards, overdose prevention materials, and prevention messaging designed for first responders to display and distribute. The term of the agreement will be for a period beginning March 15, 2022, and terminating December 31st of 2022. This resolution requests the authorization of the county administrator pursuant to Section 305.30 of the revised code to sign and accept the administrative award from the City of Columbus and our Department of Public Health. Pending any questions, we would ask your approval of this resolution.
Okay. If there are no comments or questions, okay. Okay. Move for adoption of 695-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 696-20,
Sorry. 695-22.
695-22 has been adopted.
I apologize.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Next up, Human Resources.
Resolution number 696-22, resolution authorizing a 12-month contract between Franklin County and Sikich LLC for general benefit administration, system consulting, and supportive services for Franklin County Cooperative Health Improvement Program in the amount of $56,250.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jody Lease, Assistant Director of Franklin County Human Resources. This resolution approves a 12-month contract with Sikich LLC. Sikich is contracted as a consultant and will provide project support and best practice guidance as we consider improvements to and work to resolve certain issues with the Franklin County Cooperative's Benefits Administration Services. Benefits Administration Services include, among other things, our COBRA services, as well as access to an online enrollment platform where our employees go to enroll and request changes for their health, life, and disability benefits. So the not to exceed amount of this contract is just over $56,000. Pending any questions, I request approval of this resolution.
Okay. If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 696-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 696-22 has been adopted.
Thank you,
Thank
Jody.
you.
Have a great day. Next, we have
Thank you.
purchasing.
Resolution number 697-22, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $2,046,352.17.
Good morning, Commissioner. Sharon Sabree, Fiscal Support Analyst for Purchasing. And joining me is Tamika Withers, Chief Economic Equality and Inclusion Officer in the Office of Diversity and Equality and Inclusion. Commissioners, this resolution requests your approval of 52 purchase orders for which the county auditor has pre-certified available funding. Tamika has the supplier diversity data for the week. Good morning, Tamika.
Good morning, Sharon. Thank you. Commissioners, the purchase orders presented for your approval include 8 purchase orders presented to award to 1 disadvantaged business enterprise, 1 minority business enterprise, 1 local economically disadvantaged enterprise, 1 small and emerging business enterprise, and 4 women business enterprise totaling $176,491.37. Once approved this week, the following agencies provided opportunities for equitable and inclusion to small businesses: the Office on Aging, Justice Policy and Program, Clerk of Courts, Engineering, ADAMH, and Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Thank you, Tamika. Pending any questions, Commissioners, we request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 697-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 697-22 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think you have like the
Thank you.
longest title. It's like, we need an acronym or something. Chief Equity and Inclusion. Inclusion. Okay, CEIO. Oh, I think that's it. Okay, thank you. Next, we have the Board of Commissioners.
Resolution number 698-22, resolution to authorize Hannah Estabrook as a joint appointment representative to the One Ohio Region 1 Board arising out of national prescription opiate litigation.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chris Long, Deputy County Administrator. The next 4 resolutions all are in regard to the One Ohio Region Board. The first resolution is a joint appointment with the City of Columbus, and this resolution would appoint Hannah Estabrook as one of the joint committee members. Pending any questions, would recommend your approval. Oh, I apologize. Savannah Sprague. I went out of order. I have this in front of me.
Oh.
No.
Oh, Hannah Estabrook. Oh, my gosh. I need my coffee, Commissioners. I am so sorry. I apologize. I need to just start over again. I need to get it together if I could stop back. Oh, my gosh.
I should have cut the mic, I'm sorry.
You really should have cut the mic.
Yeah.
Follow our clerk's lead, Commissioners.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 698-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 698-22 has been adopted. Resolution number 699-22, resolution to authorize Dr. Robert Gressel as a joint appointment representative to the One Ohio Region 1 Board arising out of national prescription opiate litigation.
Pending any questions, Commissioners would recommend this joint appointment.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 699-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 699-22 has been adopted. Resolution number 700-22, resolution to authorize Savannah Sprague as a joint appointment representative to the One Ohio Region 1 Board arising out of national prescription opiate litigation.
Pending any questions, would recommend this joint appointment.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 700-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Resolution number 722 has been adopted.
Before you go on, Clerk, I just want to be clear and just say for these appointments, because we've been doing a lot of appointments here lately, that, because I've been asked about it, these individuals in particular, if you could just briefly say, one is a doctor who runs and getting ready to open a new treatment and recovery facility. Another one has, go ahead.
Correct. Yes, Dr. Robert Gressel, a former emergency room physician who now runs Base Camp Recovery, which works with individuals in the community with recovery and addiction issues. Hannah Estabrook is the executive director of Sanctuary Night, who provides safe space for women and other folks in the community that have opioid-related concerns. And Savannah Sprague came recommended to us from Director Rochelle Pride in the Justice Policy and Program Division. This is an individual who has lived experience herself, is now a peer counselor, is a member of the LGBTQ community, and will be as a peer counselor as well, and will provide that lived experience on the board. In addition, there are other appointees that are on this local board a dentist whose son passed of an opioid addiction. So we have the family member lived experience on the board. We have someone who has lived experience themselves. We have a physician. We have members of the community like Joe Mazzola, who is the health commissioner who is on the board, previously appointed by this board. Erica Clark-Jones, CEO of ADAMH. Edward Johnson, who's the assistant city health commissioner. We have members of the first responders. Chief Brian Fraley is Clinton Township Fire Chief, was the township's recommendation, and a firefighter from the city of Columbus, and Amy O'Grady, who is in the service provider. So I think we really, at the leadership of this board and others, we really have a well-rounded local region to represent our region to make these recommendations as the funds come into the state.
Thank you. I wanted the public to be aware that we didn't just appoint, I won't say anybody, but that we were very intentional to make sure that we cover people from the community, people with lived experience, people who assist those with lived experience or those who are suffering from addiction. And so instead of just being generic in our appointments, I wanted to make that.
Thank you.
Okay, and so, I'm sorry, go ahead to the next, our last resolution, and we're about to be out of here before 10 o'clock.
Resolution number 70122, resolution to set appointment terms for the Franklin County Board of Commissioners representatives and the Franklin County Township representative to the One Ohio Region 1 Board arising out of national prescription opiate litigation.
Commissioners, you previously appointed these members to the board, but we did not assign terms per the bylaws. So all this resolution does is attach a term of service to each of these priorly appointed board members. For Erica Clark-Jones, Rochelle Pride, Joe Mazzola, and Chief Brian Fraley. Pending any questions, would recommend your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, move for adoption of 701-22.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Resolution number 70122 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do you have any journalizations?
I do not.
Are there any members of the media in person or online who wish to ask any questions? Great. Hearing and seeing none, with no further business come before the board, we are adjourned. Have a great Tuesday.